Hello and welcome back to the Sports Brief Podcast. Welcome back to it, episode 30. Now, starting at now, first thing we got to do, turn it over to co-host. How's it going, dude?
It's going good. Good to be back.
Absolutely. Episode 30, a lot of big things to happen tonight. We're going to preview the Super Bowl a little bit, talk about the Vikings, and now getting Gary Kubiak as their new offensive coordinator. And a lot of other stuff, but the first thing we're going to ask you guys to do is subscribe to the most recent news and events in sports, which are all brought to you by the Sports Brief Podcast, as Tristan has to bring up his Lambeau Field mug. Anywho, once again, be sure to leave us a comment as well as a like, all of which after you subscribe, comment on how great my hair looks tonight or how much I need to improve it or get a haircut, whatever we need to comment on. We actually, I got this news today. Gary Kubiak will be the offensive coordinator for the Minnesota Vikings. My first reaction was, it's coming. I knew it. Because Mike Zimmer said in his exit press conference that he wants continuity and he doesn't want his offense to be able to kind of go out and have to learn new things. It had better work because I am sick of bringing in Kevin Stefanski. I said it on the air, said it out last week. He should have gotten the job, or a couple weeks ago, should have gotten the job. The Browns last year. I know he wasn't proven, but he should have gotten it over Freddie Kitchens now.
Mm-hmm.
Now, with the Vikings, I'm glad that they're doing this continuity thing. I think it's going to help Kirk Cousins in his last year. Listen, this is it. This is make or break. I know they probably might come out with a contract extension for Mike Zimmer. I see that happening, especially making it to the divisional round and shocking the world after beating the Saints. I see that happening. But Kirk Cousins, I wouldn't get comfortable. And I love Kirk Cousins. He's a Christian. He's a great man. But the key is here, we cannot let him get comfortable. And that's just business. That's how this thing goes. We draft a quarterback. I say, in the top 3 rounds, we draft a quarterback that is a hot shot. I'm talking this guy, Joe Burrow. I'm not saying we trade the house for the first overall pick, but I might consider it because I don't want to get this guy too pumped up to go. Now, I know that I sound a little blasphemous because I'm speaking fully out of emotion and not logic here. So let me kind of retract this and let me kind of go back to my brain and actually think about this. The Vikings aren't going to draft a quarterback in the top 3 rounds because I believe that this is it. This is Kirk Cousins is attached to Mike Zimmer. He's attached to Rick Spielman, who gave him the contract that was $28 million per year, fully guaranteed. They are whatever it was. This is it, boy. This is it. There is no more, okay, well, we got him an offensive line. Oh, we got him an offensive. This is the last year of your contract, dude. The Vikings defense needs some help. There's a lot of other areas that the Vikings need to get help on. They can't afford to go out and draft a quarterback or trade for a quarterback or whatever it is. This is it, dude. I hope you ate your Wheaties the entire season because this is it. And I think Gary Kubiak, the addition of him as the Vikings offensive coordinator, gives them the best chance to win a Super Bowl next year. I agree with this move because, again, Mike Zimmer wanted continuity. Well, he got it. Delvin Cook is going to come back next year. There's a heap of other things that the Vikings need to do, and we'll get into that in another episode. But at the end of the day, the Vikings got their coach, they got their offensive coordinator, and I think this is a great move for the organization. It's going to put, like I said, it's going to put them all in the best possible position to be successful. That's what you do as a coach. What was your reaction, by the way?
Yeah, I think you said it best. I think staying within the organization and hiring Kubiak was probably the best move they could have made. If they want to keep what they already have built and just build on what they have and improve what they have rather than taking a whole new system, trying to get everybody to learn it while he's in his contract year, the quarterback. That wouldn't be a very smart move, in my opinion, because if that probably happened, I don't think they'd be very good next year, learning a whole new offense.
No.
But you never know. But, yeah, definitely Kubiak was the smartest choice. Somebody the Vikings, the guys already know. Somebody who's been around, he knows what the deal is. I think he was – what was he? He was an offensive advisor this last year or something?
I believe so, yep.
Yeah, something like that. And then doesn't his son coach for the Vikings too?
Yes. I believe he's the quarterback's coach or something like that. Yes. Clint Kubiak, yes.
Yeah, but Gary's definitely got his work cut out for him. I'm not sure what's going to happen with Stefon Diggs this offseason. I don't really know. I honestly think it's 50-50 if he goes or stays. Yeah, I don't know. Do you know if he's an unrestricted free agent?
No, they just re-signed him like a year or two ago to a 5-year deal. So he's in Minnesota.
He's under contract.
He's not a free agent. He's not a free agent.
Okay, so what's all the business about him leaving? Maybe.
He wanted to be traded. I mean, it was that whole jazz after I think it was after the Bears game. You know, he kind of didn't really deny it and didn't really accept it. All that jazz. I don't think he's going anywhere because I mean he's a good wide receiver. He just had 1,000 yards, even though he didn't catch. I think there were a ton of more receivers that caught more passes than him, and he had a great season. Even though he missed, I believe, 1 or 2 games. I don't think he's going anywhere. And the reason I say that, I hope he's not because he's a good wide receiver. He's a field stretching wide receiver. And I think if the Vikings get some help on the offensive line, then maybe we can help the man out a little bit. However, I do think in order to help out your offensive line, you need to help out with coaching. And, the Vikings, again, that's where the continuity thing comes in. I think it's huge. So Stefon Diggs, hopefully not going anywhere. You were right, we were right. Clint Kubiak is the Vikings quarterbacks coach. For me, though, the biggest question marks are on defense for this team. They just fired mutually parted ways with Jerry Gray and Edwards, who is the defensive coordinator. I was shocked to hear that. Like, I was kind of like, whoa. Like, usually when you have you make the divisional round, maybe, some things happen, but I didn't expect this. I think looking at this, I think it lets everybody know to not get comfortable, especially on the defensive side of the football, because still a top 15 defense. They weren't as good as they were in years past, even though they played much better towards the end of the playoffs, not against the 49ers, because let's face it, the 49ers were making everybody look like fools. So I do believe that this is going to make them refocus defensively. This is going to make them say, okay, nobody's safe. Jerry Gray and Edwards were there for 7 years, just as long as Mike Zimmer was there. This is a way of Mike Zimmer clearing the slate, giving them the proverbial shot in the arm and saying, okay, defensively, we're going to do some different things. And I mean, the godfather of, or excuse me, the creator of the double A-gap blitz, I think he's going to come out with some new defensive stuff, and I'm very excited for that next year. And hopefully we'll see some good things happen.
Yeah. One thing I think Minnesota should do, I try to keep my insider advice to myself when I'm giving it to division rivals, but I think besides offensive line, they should spend a high pick on a slot receiver. 2nd round, 3rd round,
really?
Maybe. I think the way I look at that offense, if they had like a really good slot receiver, I think their offense would be great. Like, I think it would be a really good offense. I mean, they have Diggs and Thielen on the outsides, but if you could get a really good guy on the inside and have Dalvin Cook, like it just opens up a whole new world of possibilities of what you can do in the middle of the field. Because when they throw to Thielen and Diggs, it's generally it's outside the hashes. It's on the right and left side of the field. Yep. I don't know, Treadwell, he's probably going to be there again. I don't know. He doesn't seem like he's an X receiver though. He's not an inside slot receiver. I don't know who else. I don't even know who else they have, honestly. But I think
I'd like to answer that, kind of rebuttal that a little bit. The Vikings actually have Chad Beebe, who's actually an undrafted free agent. Actually, I don't think he's a free agent, excuse me, but he was undrafted, I think, at the University of Northern Iowa or something like that. I can't quite remember the college, but Chad Beebe, in his pride and glory, he actually had one of the biggest plays against the Packers in like week 2. He had like a 65-yard catch. Yeah. And after that, he got injured. I'm not exactly sure. Northern Illinois University, had a 61-yard catch against the Packers. He actually is. I think he's going to take over as their slot guy. He's like 5'9", 160, not huge, but he can fly. So looking at this, I do expect him. I expect him to make a full recovery and be back. Also, the Vikings have Olabisi Johnson. He was a guy, 7th-round draft pick out of Colorado, and he played his heart out. I think there was times when I thought that Olabisi Johnson might be one of the better route runners on the Vikings squad, not including Thielen and Diggs. Those guys are on their whole other level. I thought there was Thielen, Diggs, and then Olabisi Johnson in terms of route running over Treadwell and all that jazz. So I'm thinking here, Chad Beebe is going to have to step up this year. No more injured, no more draft, free agent draft. Before the season started, I was a guy that said Chad Beebe was going to have a big year. Well, he had 2 catches for 70 yards. Not awful, but it's also the fact that he was, injured. So I'm hoping that he can come back, get fully healthy. But I can see why you would say that. I think that would help out their offense, yes. But unfortunately, the Vikings have some holes on the interior. Well, more specifically, the left side of the offensive line that I think they're either A, going to draft a left tackle number one in the first round, or B, they're going to draft a corner because they need some help in that area. So I don't know exactly what's going to happen here. They're going to have to restructure a lot of things because that apparently the salary cap is catching up with them, and they've got a lot of stuff to figure out. They have more questions than answers to me right now because of all the stuff going on. So I think it's actually going to be a very interesting offseason, and I am extremely excited for everything that will come with it.
Thank you for watching the Sports Brief Podcast. If you would like to see our newest videos, keep in touch with the latest sports issues, or check in on your favorite team, be sure to subscribe on YouTube, iTunes, or SoundCloud, and follow us on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram.